Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 344 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Monday, November 11th, 2024. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, I'm all discombobulated because I went and moved stuff around on my desk.
Pushing the wrong buttons. You know what? The end of the season, I've said this a million times, could not get here fast enough, and my God, we're limping it home, buddy.
Yes, we are. We are.
We're going to make it through this recording tonight and see how it goes.
Thank God it ends a little earlier than it used to, right?
It didn't end as early as it did last year.
That's
I didn't
true.
know that.
That's
I saw
true.
the timeline this week. I was like, what the heck, man?
Yeah.
The Olympics. I forgot all about the Olympics.
Yeah,
Remember that?
Damn Olympics.
What a time to be alive.
2 weeks off.
Jeez.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
What did we do with ourselves?
I don't know, but I know what we did this weekend, James. We crowned 3 champions this weekend in
Yes, we
NASCAR.
We did.
It was an entertaining championship weekend. Maybe more entertaining on Saturday than Sunday, but that's not uncommon, right? I mean,
Right?
It's pretty normal.
Yeah.
But let's dive into the super ever popular championship winner of the Cup Series. Joey Logano joins the 3 times club. Super popular championship win, right?
Even years for
Everybody's
Joey Logano.
excited that Joey won it. 10th driver in history.
Not as much as Joey himself.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It was meant to be. We joked about it, and by God, it happened.
Yeah. Neither of us picked him last week. We both should have. I picked Reddick. You at least picked the team. You got Blaney.
Well, I thought for sure Blaney would have the better car, and maybe he did. Maybe he did on that last run, but he didn't have the track position. So
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious! It had to be this way, right? I mean, we had to have the worst one of the 4 win it, just because.
You know, he's not the worst one of the 4 though. So here's
I mean, performance-wise,
but
yes.
I get it. But even that, James, like, okay, so what does this point system value?
Winning when winning matters.
It values winning races. How many races did Joey Logano win this year?
4.
Who else won 4?
Kyle Larson.
That's it, right?
That's it.
So there you go. I mean,
No arguments needed.
So, I mean, the only other person that technically would be qualified to be in there then is Larson, right? And Larson didn't win at the right time. You know the problem with Larson? You know what Larson didn't do that Joey Logano did this year?
Win in the playoffs.
He didn't race 36 races in the Cup Series.
That's true. There's 1 race short.
There you go. You know what? He doesn't miss that race. Maybe he's in the Final 4.
Who knows? Who the heck knows?
Are you upset with this Joey Logano championship?
I'll be honest with you. The whole championship week I've had a sour taste in my mouth for about 8 days.
Okay, cool.
now.
So we're going to disagree on that. That's cool. Okay,
Yeah,
good. Perfect.
I don't know. I don't know if there was anything that was going to salvage it. I did find myself rooting for Blaney to get there.
Yeah, I wanted to see Blaney get there. I wanted to see them have to battle. I wanted to see them have to rub fenders.
Blaney just didn't have enough. And I was, when the strategy played out for Byron, I said, all right, now we've got a race on our hands. And then those Fords hit the bottom of the track and took off. And that was it. I mean, there was just no competing with those Fords. They stunk up the show. They were so good all day. Unbelievable.
Here's what I think is interesting about this. A lot of people, of course, bitching about the format. Very upset with the way this turned out. Very upset that Joey Logano got the championship. But I want to look at something here real quick. Joey Logano led 107 laps in this race.
Yeah, he was dominant.
He didn't lead as many as Christopher Bell.
Yep, Chris Bell was racking him up. Yep.
He led 107 laps. So it's not like he just had some strategy that happened to play into his favor that got him the championship. He was the best championship car all day in this race.
Yep.
Yes, Blaney had the speed at the end, but part of it was strategy, and he didn't get there. Almost, but didn't quite. And Logano was in a better position in the first place.
And I would add Paul Wolfe flexed his Paul Wolfiness.
Yes, of course.
And I mean,
Well, not only that, but
best crew chief in the garage, he just does it, man. He just gets his guy where he needs to be and gets him everything he needs. It's unbelievable.
spot or two, information given to Joey. Joey probably the best in the circuit in aero blocking.
Yes, he is, no doubt.
You can't fault him for that. That's the way this car is.
The thing that Joey Logano does, besides aero blocking, Joey Logano he does not miss. When it is time, Joey Logano is aces every time.
Yep.
He is always on the money, always picture perfect when it matters most.
Yep.
No doubt about it.
But so everybody's upset with this, that the best car in the championship 4 won the race on Sunday and won the championship. People are upset. They want the system torn out. However, Saturday, Justin Allgaier won the championship. He led 4 laps on the day.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't win the race.
That's right.
And he spent most of the race, the worst of the 4 championship drivers, down a lap.
I kid you not. Today I was trying to think of a tweet that I wanted to send. You know the Office meme where Pam is sitting there and says, "Take a look at these pictures. Corporate wants you to find the difference." But they're the same. I really wanted to put the picture of Justin Allgaier and Joey Logano side by side winning the championship, but Allgaier's average finish wasn't close enough for me to feel comfortable.
Right.
Because he was a little bit better.
Now, don't get me wrong. Allgaier also had the best car on Saturday.
2 wins on the season for Justin Allgaier.
Yeah. By far best car of the day on Saturday. But he lucked out to get where he needed to be.
Dude, he tried
if
to
you
give
want
it
to
away.
call it lucked out, because he had so much bad luck this weekend too.
He tried to give it away multiple times.
Well, just like they've done all season.
Yes.
And his whole career, honestly. So
Destiny, man.
but everybody loves Saturday's championship. They are so happy. I didn't hear any person complain about the format on Saturday. Not a single person.
Because the right guy won for them, right?
Exactly. That's my
popular
argument.
guy won.
So here's the thing. I listened to the teardown today, and painfully listened to the teardown because I was very frustrated throughout it. I really wanted to. I wished I was listening to it live and was in the chat and could comment. I don't believe that there is a format problem right now. No.
Boy.
Listen, let me finish.
I know you finished your point. I can't believe you said that.
We do not have a format problem. We have a car problem. It is the next gen car that is making people dislike this system. It is the parity of this car. It is the randomness of this car. That's why we're not happy with the system, because until 3 years ago, we weren't complaining this much about this system, but now we are. And we didn't complain about it Saturday. We didn't complain about it Friday, but we're complaining about it now because this car is so random, because everything's so random, because they're so close and so much parity that the guy who's the 8th best in the championship 8 can go on and win the championship with a couple, right timed wins. That's my argument. I don't think the format is the issue. I think the car is the issue.
I disagree, and I think
what a surprise. I'm shocked.
Well, the Penske guys have the format figured out.
Yeah, but could they do that in the old car?
Yeah, there was a guy who did that in the old car.
Yeah, but the guy who did it in the old car is the one who did it in the 10 race championship chase that everybody wants back. Yes, he won. I think he won 1 in the current.
He did win 1 in
but
the current
6
format.
of those championships, including 4 in a row.
Yes.
Or 5 in a row. 5 in a row were done under the 10 race championship format that everybody wants back.
But they,
because honestly, very few people are saying they want the old system back, which is insane, by the way, because it's been 20 years.
Yeah, and let me just say, for all those new fans or fans who think that this is completely broken, y'all were crying, and I was one of them, by the way. Y'all were crying every single year that guy won those championships.
Yeah.
Every year it's like, oh my God, he did it again. Oh my God, he did it again.
I was ready to quit watching NASCAR.
And then 2011 happened, and Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards broke the brains of everybody.
Yep.
And broke the system. Completely broke the system, because what happened the 2 years after that was stinker. We need Game 7 moments.
Yep.
Off you go.
See, it's Tony Stewart's fault.
It is Tony Stewart's fault.
All Tony
Stewart and
Stewart's
Carl
fault.
Edwards. Tony Stewart, absolute trash that season, and then went on the most historic run in the history of NASCAR to win a championship.
Can you say that again? Hold on. Repeat what you just said.
He was trash in the regular
Absolute
season.
trash during the regular season.
And he said it. He said it back then. He said, we don't deserve to be here. Somebody else should have our spot. And all of a sudden, got hot.
Who do you think was bigger trash during the season? Tony Stewart that season or Joey Logano this season?
Well, statistics show Joey Logano. But, I mean,
You're not helping my argument, damn it.
Tony Stewart had, until this year, Tony Stewart had the worst average finish for an entire season of any of the champions. But yeah.
Nobody complained that year.
No, because it was magical.
Right?
Yes.
Why isn't this magical? Because we don't like Joey Logano.
Well, and let me just add a couple of things that people have mentioned. I think are valid points. I don't necessarily agree with these. However, hear me out. Austin Cindric causes a caution at Nashville that gets Joey Logano in on strategy. He makes the playoffs on strategy. People are freaking out about that. That's one. That's item number one. Yeah. Next, he wins on strategy again in the playoffs to get him to the next round.
Right.
And people are like, oh my God, he's not fast, but he's winning these fuel mileage races.
Strategy. Okay, that's a thing that happens in sports, right?
That happens in racing.
In sports in general. Strategy.
And then the big one is he misses the cut.
Yeah.
And the guy in front of him gets disqualified.
Yeah.
And then he's in, and he's still 14th in points basically. And that's the problem is people keep looking at the full season standings, which I continue.
They don't matter.
They don't matter. Exactly. I continue to scream, Eric. I had to write something down today. I actually went on Twitter. And I put 3 tweets together. I made a thread, as the kids call it. I made a thread because I cannot see another post about the Winston Cup standings. And your old colleague Matt Weaver even liked my one tweet about it. But fans don't know what the hell they're looking at. They don't understand what they're watching because they think that the full season format is the fix. And I'm here to tell you, it's not the fix. You can't full season. You can't full season this thing.
But
anymore.
Jeff Gluck says Formula One's so much more popular because their season is a full season championship. Exactly. It's a worldwide series. If NASCAR ran
stupidest thing he's ever said.
If NASCAR ran one race in different countries like Formula One does, sure it'd be more popular everywhere.
Yes. Yes.
Jeez.
No, man, it's I couldn't believe he said that. When he said
I almost shut the right off.
When he said that, my eyes rolled into the back of my head. I was like, "You got it." I'm like, Jeff, please. Listen, man. I don't know what the format fix is. I don't have suggestions for you. I don't know.
So when I ask that question in a few minutes, you're not going to have nothing for me?
Well, we can talk about it really quick right now. I don't know what it is, and the rumors going around that the playoff drivers are going to have their own points.
God, I hope that doesn't happen.
That seems to be going in the wrong direction because you're going to have even more instability from the back.
Why even have anybody else race?
Right.
And I have those guys race their own separate race every week.
Yeah, I know. And I don't know if shortening the playoff is another. I've seen them all. I've been on Twitter way too much, and I'm to the point where I'm gonna just shut it off.
The only change that I would be willing to accept, personally, like I've been thinking about this the whole playoffs. I've especially been thinking about it a ton today. I kept putting scenarios in my head, like what could we do to change things? And nothing makes sense to me. Let's put it this way. Nothing gives a driver a more fair chance to win than what we have. I get that flukes can happen and things can happen, but that can happen in any system. The only thing I could accept is the 3-race final round. And even that, I feel like there are flaws there. But there's flaws with the current system,
too. There's flaws with everything.
And I haven't decided whether the flaws outweigh the attempt at it. But the problem is you can't just do it for 1 year. You got to make a 5-year plan or a 3-year plan that we're going to try this and see how it works.
The thing that the system gets correct, and even the naysayers have to admit this, the thing that this thing gets correct is it delivers big time moments and big time performances. Yeah. Tyler Reddick and Ryan Blaney put on absolute clinics to make it to the championship race.
That Homestead finish would not have happened under any other format.
It is incredible. And you had Kyle Larson at the same time trying to get there and not being able to get it done while, and that's the difference.
And if you change the format, those fuel mileage things that Joey Logano did don't change. It doesn't deter him from doing that. Because he's still going to get max points for the win, because you still want to put emphasis on the win. Right. So,
and I'm sick of people saying that he's the worst champion of all time, because that's just not true. I mean, statistically, yes. I understand where people are saying this, but he's not Corey LaJoie going out there and stealing a title.
Right.
You know what I mean? He is now a 3-time champion who does his job with the format given. Everybody understands the rules going into it. And I side with Joey Logano when he says it's BS that people say it's not a legit championship. Championship's a championship, man.
They're all in the same format.
Yep. I've seen 8 seeds in the NBA make the NBA finals. Yep. I've seen it. Eric, you love hockey.
Yep.
Hockey is as random of a playoff as you can get, right?
Yeah.
You got teams. I remember, I'm not a big hockey fan, so bear with me. I remember when the Mighty Ducks, the Anaheim Ducks, went on a tear in the playoffs. Jean-Sebastien Giguère. I remember this. And that team was what? They were not very good, but they got a hot goaltender, right?
Yeah. Well,
they make a run.
That's what you do. You load up at the playoff at the trade deadline. You put the best team together that you could possibly do to take a run when it matters.
Exactly.
And that's the
baseball
same thing these guys are doing.
And the NBA does it in the buyout market when all of a sudden teams that are bad who want to get worse for draft picks, they start cutting some good players, and all of a sudden the championship contenders start picking guys up. Teams change throughout the season. Joey Logano's team changed throughout the season. Right. They don't race for consistency. I cannot stress this enough. None of these teams race for consistency. If consistency is a piece of the pie, it is a very thin slice, because these guys are trying to hit home runs every time they go out there and win these dang races.
Yeah.
And they want to collect the trophies, but more so they understand that winning racks up points to get them to the next round, so on and so forth. Winning races is what gets the job done. Joey Logano got to the playoffs, started hammering out wins.
Yep.
Congratulations, you're the champ. That's how it goes.
It's better for us with them wanting to win. Here's my argument too, is that in all the years of the chase, the playoffs, whatever you want to call it, since we switched from the Winston Cup system, there has not been a season that I don't think that the champion, that an undeserved champion was crowned.
No.
Now,
I don't disagree with that.
Now, were there drivers that maybe deserved it more? Yeah, hell yeah. There were many times. Dude. But that was under the old system too.
Yeah.
So one of the championship races that everybody looks back on as one of the best in history is 1992. Mm-hmm. Alan Kulwicki did not deserve that championship more than Davey Allison deserved that championship.
It got handed to him.
Exactly. So this same thing can happen in any format.
But you got to be in position.
Exactly.
You've got to put yourself in position.
Yes.
And Carl Edwards, my heart breaks for Carl Edwards on a couple of occasions.
Oh yeah, he's been in position many times, and
nobody else has tied for the championship and lost. Carl Edwards lost on a tie and then lost on a restart. He wasn't a great restarter in 2016. Carl never really was a great restarter.
Didn't he get jacked up by Joey Logano too? I mean, that was...
Well, I mean, he was slower, though. That's the thing. He was
exactly.
slower.
Yeah.
And dominated that race. I mean, he was the champion of the Cup Series for 395 miles.
Yeah.
In a 400-mile race.
Yep.
I mean, my heart breaks for him. Mark Martin came close a bunch of times. Dale Jr., some could argue, lost the championship because he cussed after Talladega.
Yep.
There's like all these things, they do happen, and we cannot be prisoners of the moment every single time. Yeah. Now, when I said to you earlier in the episode that I felt a little bit icky about this whole week, it's just because of the way Martinsville went down. Honestly, I don't have a problem with Joey Logano making the championship.
Well, it doesn't help that Phoenix just isn't a great track.
And Phoenix isn't great, but it's just
I will say
we had the penalties get handed down last week, and it's just I just was like, and this season's just been just a bit off for
Right.
whatever reason. It's just been a little bit of an off season, and
Yeah, we've been frustrated throughout the playoffs just for officiating things and
officiating things and all sorts of other leadership things. I mean, and then, the press conference this week with O'Donnell and Steve Phelps, I just felt disconnected because I felt like they're out of touch a little bit.
I didn't watch any of it, so I've got no insight on that.
Yeah, I just was, again, I think I'm on Twitter too much.
Yeah, probably.
I really do.
I agree with that.
I'm serious. I think I'm gonna take a break.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this episode out. I think I'm gonna take a break.
Uncle Elon's gonna show up at your house and say, "Dude, you got to get back on there."
He's getting rid of the bots. Maybe I'm one of them. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I would argue that Phoenix is the best form of Phoenix being the championship race. It definitely adds an element to the race that makes it more interesting than the spring Phoenix race, but Phoenix just isn't a good track. So that hurts us here. Yeah. Obviously, I think that the things that have created the issue that we don't like this format is Phoenix being the championship race and the next gen car. I think those two things together are the biggest reason. I think if we went back to Homestead, certainly if we had the old car, we wouldn't be bitching about it so much. And again, it doesn't help when a non-popular, which still is the most frustrating thing in the world to me, because I've said it numerous times. I don't understand. I do understand, but I don't understand why Joey Logano is unpopular. He shouldn't be. And I think he's very underrated. I think he doesn't get the credit he deserves for what he's done. I think people are still stuck on, how he was pushed at Joe Gibbs Racing to be the next best thing and didn't perform. And everybody's stuck on that. And of course his dad would jump into things for him and he had a mouth on him and he was obnoxious, and I get it. Yep. But he's not anymore. He's confident. Yeah. But let's compare two people. Let's compare Joey Logano, who will talk with any media outlet. He will talk. I go into the media center and I am on equal ground with Bob Pockris and Jeff Gluck. He will talk to me like he talks to anybody else. And compare that to our most popular driver who refuses to be on a Netflix show because he just doesn't want to deal with it. The Joey should be getting more credit than he gets. It's very frustrating, very frustrating. But I do agree, James. I mean, Penske has this system figured out. Yep. And
you gotta tweak it a little bit, I think, somehow.
Like
I don't know what that is.
I'm afraid of what we're gonna do. I don't think there's any way they go to a 3-race final round, because we've already announced what races are in what rounds, and it all bumps up with TV networks and all that stuff. So I don't think they can change that for next season. Yeah. But I think that's. I don't know that solves the problem.
I thought of a tier-based playoff system where if you you split the field into whatever you want, like split the field into 8ths or something. That doesn't work either. Like I was in my head, I was like, well, I'll try this. No, I don't like that either. I don't know.
Is the best option to do what Supercross does and have a season champion and then have a playoff? I mean, we kind of have that now, but put more emphasis on the season championship. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you do it though. I mean, you could. I don't know. There's no good solution.
I even thought about having a 10 car playoff and a 10 eliminate the last place driver after each round. Yeah. Or each race. But again, you can't do that because Joey Logano has a really bad race and then wins 7 of them. Right. It's like, okay, well then people are going to be mad about that. So yeah, you can't do it. Whatever you do is going to get scrutinized to death. It's the way it is. So
why as NASCAR fans can't we just accept what we have and enjoy it? Why do we got to change it?
I think people are out too online. I think that's part of it.
And I think NASCAR needs to stop listening to them. And I've said that for years.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They listen too much. And then then the people they don't listen to it's just an endless cycle. So irritating. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Christopher Bell. Great run for him, finishes 5th, but leads 143 laps in the day. Definitely a statement from him. He had some comments earlier in the week that he was screwed out of a chance to race for the championship. I'll let you share your feelings on that comment, James, because you and I are on the same page on that one.
Yeah. I just completely disagree.
Yeah.
he made a bunch of statements about how he's the rightful person to be in the championship for, and didn't even comment about the 23 letting him go.
Right.
And then as soon as you wall ride, dude, you
Yeah.
were there. I mean, well, no matter what, like, he was in if he doesn't wall ride on the last lap. Like,
Yeah.
if you just don't wall ride, you already made it. So it's at the end of the day, it's on you, man. And I understand his frustration, but you got to look in the mirror and have some self-awareness.
If you look at William Byron and Christopher Bell, one of those two drivers did something wrong at Martinsville.
Right.
The other one didn't. Other people around him did, but
Yes.
so did other people around the 20.
Yes.
So Bell's the only one who did anything wrong.
Right. I know. It's tough, man. I I hate it for him. I really do. And that's part of the sour taste, obviously, too. It's like, oh man, we got, but, I'm not going to bury him for being frustrated.
No, he has a right to be. I don't blame him.
He has a right to be
I'm glad
frustrated.
that he is. And honestly, I think
It'll make him better for it.
I think they mentioned it on the teardown that, it's kind of nice to hear him speaking his mind.
He's going to have another crack at this thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it sucks. I mean, they're very hard. They're very hard to get. And I cannot imagine that. Like, you think about Kyle Larson, right? And a couple years ago, he wins that first one. You're like, oh man, he's going to get a couple more. He might be the first 2-3-time champion we've had in a while. And he gets to Phoenix, and Eric, even if he gets to Phoenix on Sunday in the championship 4, it didn't matter. He wasn't beating those Fords. He wasn't beating those Fords on Sunday. And like, even William Byron, as young as he is, like, okay, he's had 2 cracks at it now and has never had a chance because those Fords are just, those Penske Fords are just dominant right now when you get to that final race.
Well, and the other problem is Logano, as much as he, got in by the skin of his teeth, essentially, made it look easy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes it look like he, eased his way into a championship.
He knows how to get it done, man.
But, there were 15 other drivers that didn't do that. It wasn't easy for. So to say it was easy for Logano is easy to say because he's the one who won it. But,
right.
I mean, if it was easy, then Larson should be there every year.
Exactly.
I mean, he's arguably the best driver on the track every race. So
exactly.
any race you go to.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, every race. What's funny about Joey Logano now? He's in rare air as a 3-time champ.
Yeah.
But every time he shows up to the racetrack, it's funny because you look at him and now he's a 3-time champ, and I have never once thought that's the best driver in the field.
Yeah.
For him, he's just really good at what he does.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good at what he does. Like, you think of other champions who are in that club, like Tony Stewart had a run where he was the best.
Yeah.
It was probably a short window, because the 48 came along.
I was gonna say Tony was in that era of Jimmy, so
Tony from 2002 to 2005 is probably his window.
Yeah.
Because Jimmy comes along after that, and that's. I mean, Jimmy has a run.
Yeah.
Obviously. And then Jimmy, you go from Jimmy to Kyle Busch, and now we're probably at Kyle Larson. So,
fortunately, Kyle Larson busts his butt enough to where it's you don't feel like you have to hate him for winning.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, Joey's just man, it's something. I don't know. I'm still trying to come to terms with him joining that group. We have a 10 driver group now. So
yeah, he's the only driver only active driver with 3.
Yep, and he's only 34 years old, which also blows my mind. When I saw the ages, and I saw that Blaney's only 4 years younger than Joey, I went, "Oh my god, he's still got another 10 years possibly, of championship contention." Oh man,
he could get to 8.
Good, keeps this up.
He won't, not with this system.
If they don't change something,
yeah, right.
Well, if they don't change something, he's gonna. Yeah.
I don't know. At least, I mean, would people have been this upset if Blaney went back to back?
I don't think so. I mean, they still would have been upset, but it's the guy who won in the circumstances that he got him there. I think that's the problem. That's the biggest.
I mean, the
problem.
only thing that is any different from Joey Logano from the other 3 is that he was out and got back in because of somebody cheating.
Yeah.
Otherwise, none of those 4 were the 4 that should have been in. So it didn't matter.
I know. I
mean, whatever. Anyway,
I think the only 2 drivers that the majority of fans would have been okay with is Blaney and Reddick.
Yeah.
Because I think people are ticked off about the Byron situation. Not ticked off at Byron, but ticked off at the Byron situation.
Right.
And then nobody wants Joey Logano to win, apparently. So,
Right.
it's the way it is. But if Reddick or Blaney had won, then I think the discourse would have been a little bit softened. But I think we got the guy who's probably the gas on the flame.
Yeah.
That won.
You mentioned the other two, Byron and Reddick. I mean, just never really good enough.
Byron had a moment where maybe, but Reddick never even had a shot. Unfortunately for him.
No, MJ needs to just distance himself from Denny Hamlin because Denny Hamlin is allergic to that trophy.
When championships are on the line, man.
It's just not going to happen.
First time Michael Jordan's lost in a final.
There you go.
6-1 now. Yeah.
Huh.
Just like LeBron James losing in the finals again.
Yeah. Freaking Denny can't even do it as a team owner. Man.
Yeah. But when, so I was going to ask you about this. So Byron pits.
Yeah.
Late under green. Stays on the lead lap, and Zane Smith crashes.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh boy, because he had fresh tires, and I thought, oh, everybody's gonna have to pit behind him. Maybe the track position can do it for him.
Right.
And just never. I mean, from the restart, just never even had a chance.
He just wasn't good enough.
I know, and he wasn't terrible. He was just a second or two worse.
Yeah.
Which is an eternity.
I think it just comes down to that you had two teams that had the advantage of having 3 weeks to prepare.
Yeah.
When Joey locks himself in, both those teams get that data. That just made them, and not to mention they're already really good there. I mean, Blaney has been excellent at Phoenix. Joey, can turn it on whenever he needs to, but that's a Joey Logano style of track too.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, not that there's a whole lot of tracks that aren't Joey Logano style tracks, but they just didn't have anything. They needed to come with a little bit more, and just didn't have what they needed. And that's a Ford racetrack too. You're in.
They're trying like hell to figure it out, and they just can't.
Yeah, and I mean the other argument too that I'll give you, for the Penske guys is that they've won recently. I mean, I guess Reddick got the win at Homestead, but otherwise, I mean, most of these guys just didn't perform towards the second. I mean, Byron was junk. I mean, not junk. They were consistent, but they didn't win races.
Playoff. Yeah, but he didn't win. Yeah,
the whole season after he got his wins, or win, I can't remember. What did he have? 1 or 2 this year?
He had 3.
3,
yep.
Okay.
But he won 3 early.
Yeah, after that, he was just like the championship, not quite good enough.
Yeah, and then the playoffs came around, and it's like, oh man, they were top 5ing, top 3ing their way through the entire playoff. It's like, okay, man, go get it, and he just couldn't win the race.
Yeah,
just a skosh behind everybody else, unfortunately.
Reddick about Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you think about the Gibbs cars. I heard this on the teardown, but they hadn't won since New Hampshire back in June. I mean,
right?
That's a big organization not to win races.
Yeah. Reddick tried to take himself out.
Yep.
That was
a couple times. That
was pretty hairy with Elliott there.
A couple times he had. Yeah. They just. I mean, he was trying. There was nothing else he could do. He had to press.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's probably. I don't know what's worse, like being Blaney and being so close, or just not even having a chance. Seems pretty rough. But.
I don't know. It's got to be tough to be Blaney. I think Blaney is in the worst position here because you had the faster car at the end. You're catching them. You're not able to complete the pass, and now your whole team is celebrating around you.
Yeah, I know.
You have to be gracious to the guy who just beat you. Whereas if you're Reddick, you don't have to be nice to those guys. You hate those guys.
Right.
But Blaney can't hate them.
Yep.
And then Joey goes on the teardown and says he's a great kid about Blaney. It's like, he's not a kid anymore.
He's almost as old as you, man.
Right.
Oh, jeez.
Joey calling people a kid is pretty funny.
It is. Yeah. He's a kid to me still.
Yeah. So. Lost in the championship news. We ended a streak this week too, James.
What's that?
Kyle Busch, 19 straight seasons with the win, did not get a win in 2024.
Yep.
Is this
20 dang years almost?
Is this significant? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, does it really matter that he only went 19?
No, I mean his Kyle's legacy is set in stone.
Right.
He doesn't need to do anything. He could retire tomorrow, and he's, one of the greats. He's got to be seeing Joey get a third though. Has got to really.
I know now. Now
him.
Kyle's only a 2-time champ.
Yeah.
Just 2.
I know. Kyle wanted to be in that club. He still can. Kyle's not done, dude. He's not done. He's not washed up either. So
yeah, we'll see how long he stays at that RCR car.
He seemed. I listened to the audio after the race. He seemed a little. I think he's just agitated, but
I would not be surprised to see a change after next season.
Possibly if he can get out of there.
Yeah.
He never wanted to go there in the first place. That's the problem. That's the unfortunate thing.
I still see Spire in his future.
It could be.
Be interesting.
Be.
I think Spire's gonna be a threat next year.
Man, I tell you though, because Spire has Rodney in house. If they could have gotten Kyle with Rodney, my God, that would have been devastating for the competition.
Yeah.
You say what Rodney Childers did with Kevin Harvick all those years. You can put him with Kyle Busch. Golly, man, that could have been. That's how you do it right there.
Right.
That would have been my dream. That would have been my dream combination because they could have. That's how you win races.
Yeah.
You put guys together like that, like Stuart Haas did, and you just go and you let them go, and they were different during that time. So
yeah,
we'll see.
We bid farewell, sort of, to Martin Truex Jr.
Yes, sir, we did.
Got standing O in the drivers' meeting, and rode off into the sunset with a pole position and a pretty decent run, at least first half of the race or so.
Yeah, he was up there for a while.
Finished 17th, but led 9 laps. I mean, he was second and 9th in the first 2 stages. Not bad for the last run.
It was a typical Martin Truex Jr. race from this year. He was up front early and faded.
Yep.
Seems to be how it went for him. But we'll see him again. He's not done.
Yeah. Daytona 500 as long as 2311 is still allowed to race in NASCAR.
Yeah, and all the positioning that they've got going on.
But I mean, Joe Gibbs also said that, they've got whatever they can talk him into doing. So I have a feeling that maybe they're trying to stick him in an Xfinity car every once in a while or something, maybe next year.
I don't know.
So we'll see.
I guess he can race whenever he wants. So.
Yeah. Good for him. I mean, I don't think, Truex has been ready to be done, right? I mean, we've kind of seen it the last couple of years.
Yeah. He checked out a while back.
Yep. Good for him. Again, another guy that's got a legacy already. Didn't need to do anything else to prove to us. I mean, he got that championship in a car that probably shouldn't have won a championship, built the team into a competitive team, revived his career multiple times when we thought he was down and out. Put a couple teams out of business. Not of his doing, but weird career. But like I've always said, he's Dale Jarrett. He just did the Dale Jarrett. Yep.
He kind of bounced around, and then got hot, and rode that to some pretty good success. That's for sure.
Yep. Nothing to sneeze at that career. That's for sure.
Yep. He's the first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Anything else with this one? I mentioned Spire. Carson Hocevar ended up 18th, but that was not indicative of where he ran during the day. He was
up there,
top 10 at multiple points during this race. I'm excited to see what Spire can put together next season. I think they're going to continue to grow. They have the same problem though, James, that we talk about every time. They have the same problem that we talk about with Trackhouse, with Legacy, is if they're going to get better, somebody's got to get worse.
Yep.
So who are they going to take out if they're going to move up? But they've certainly been moving up the ladder. So, exciting to see that. We saw the end of Stuart Haas Motorsports or Stuart Haas Racing.
Stuart Haas Racing. Yep.
Bummer to see that legacy come to a close. Especially, when Tony announced he was going over with Gene Haas to start that team, I thought this is the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
And he had it so good at JGR.
I was scared.
I knew he didn't want to be in the Toyota. I knew he wasn't happy over there once they switched to Toyota. But I just thought Gene has no record of having race winning cars. Yep. It's going to be a disaster. And he goes out and proves us all wrong.
Yeah. I remember being scared. I remember I was in college and that news broke and it was rumored for a little bit. I mean, that happened pretty quickly. I mean, and back then we weren't as tapped in as we are now. So
Right.
that came together fast.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there going, he's going to drive a Haas CNC car.
Right.
And I was like, I thought, well, he's done. I'm like, I think he might be done.
Yep.
And then he had that press conference. I remember, I still remember it. He goes, if you think I'm making decisions and I'm not going to try to win races, you don't know me very well. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe. And the Hendrick partnership happened, and I said, all right, I'm feeling a little bit better about this.
Right.
And from there, I mean, that team, he was leading the points that first year for the majority of the regular season. It was just a magical run for them for so long, and it didn't end very well, but that 09 to what, Eric? 09 to 18, 19, those were some pretty good. That was a good decade.
Yeah.
For them. They were so good, and Kevin Harvick was so good.
Yeah.
Won the Daytona 500 with Kurt Busch. I mean, they had some characters in that building.
Yeah, they did.
That was a lot of fun. Those Stewart Haas years. I will miss that team a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, I agree. It's too bad that it turned into what it became. You know, and it's a bummer to see Tony unhappy with NASCAR and doing. I mean, it's awesome to see Tony doing his own thing and happy with what he's doing, but I hate that relationship soured.
About to be a dad this week, I believe. That's what he said.
Nice.
So yeah, he's moved on. It was great seeing him at the track with all the guys. We'll talk about Riley Herbst in a little bit here.
Yeah.
But I mean, getting that the last weekend, get one more win for that team. That's pretty cool.
Right.
But yeah, off they'll ride to the sunset, and everybody's gonna go on to do bigger and better things. You know, there's the impact, I think, from that team is going to be felt for a while.
Yeah.
You know, I think it should be mentioned that Chase Briscoe is going to be driving that 19, and maybe that could be something there.
Yeah.
To consider. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
I'm really interested to see what that becomes.
Yeah,
because
he's got a shot.
He's
got a shot.
You and I both have pretty strong opinions on his ability as a driver.
Yeah.
And I think that he's going to have a chance to show it, and it's just a matter of, you know, whether he does what others have done, jumping into that role and performs, or takes the Eric Jones route and doesn't live up to expectations, you know?
Yep. You've got an opportunity now, though.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And you've got Josh Berry going over to Penske Equipment with the 21.
Yep.
I think that team will be vastly improved.
Yeah, I think that's a really good move for them. That'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, we're going to see, man. But yeah, it's I'm looking at I mean, I'm sitting in this room and I've got Stewart Haas logos looking right at me. So,
right.
You know, I'll remember that. I'll remember them very fondly. It's a shame that they're gone, but good run.
There you go. Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, the only two non-playoff drivers finishing in between or amongst the playoff drivers, with Reddick getting a 6th place finish. Bubba Wallace had a strong performance in this one too.
Yep.
7th place for him, minus a crew chief and a spotter.
Yeah.
And a couple $1,000 or a couple $100,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess that the weight of the $100,000 out of his pocket probably made him a little faster.
A little bit.
Anything else worth mentioning in this one before we move on to the Xfinity series?
Jimmy Johnson, career high in the next gen car, 26th.
Nice. There you go. Yeah, he didn't wreck.
He'd stayed out of trouble. Oh man.
Speaking of wrecking, how about Ty Gibbs' hit?
Yeah, that was early. We didn't talk about that. That was a big one. I mean, lap one, great.
Crap.
Jeez. Yeah, Zane Smith didn't hit very easy either.
No.
He hit pretty hard.
No, but Gibbs could have been even worse. I mean, you don't expect to see the safety barrier flex that much at Phoenix.
Yeah.
I mean, that sucker went all the way to the concrete just about.
Yeah. I saw a stat today that said the 54 car for the first time since Michigan, remember Todd Bodine went airborne?
Yeah.
Finished last. It's the first time that's happened. The 54 car. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that wreck.
Yep, me too.
Wild one off of turn 2.
Yep, I was there for that.
Oh yeah. Yep. I figured you would have known that one pretty well.
Yep. And then we wrecked a pace car.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. I had to red flag the race.
What in the hell? Did they forget where the pit road entrance was? I mean,
Was he trying to do the Dale Jr. thing where you have to remember Dale Jr. said you have to make it look good?
You're right. I will have to listen to Dale's podcast.
I think he just missed it. I think he just missed it and tried to get there. That was so weird.
So I was at the IndyCar race in Detroit several years ago when they wrecked the pace car.
This. Yeah.
On the pace lap, but that was just because they lost control of it, trying to gas it up, heading out onto the track. But it wasn't trying to come to pit road.
The resale value on that pace car went way down, though.
Yeah.
Or way up, I guess, if you have the infamous pace car crash.
Right. So. Yeah. It wasn't too bad. They mucked up the front valence a little bit and a little damage to the rear fender, but
well, people don't realize those cars are going highway speeds.
Yeah.
Man. So making a cut like that is
like it looked like he got clipped, but he didn't. He just steered and locked her down.
Spun it out.
Yeah. 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 You 55, 60 miles an hour is pretty quick.
I tweeted out after that. I said, "Well, there's NASCAR in 2024. If you had any wonderings about what NASCAR was in 2024, there you go. That's it." Holy cow!
Yeah, I got a text from somebody that mentioned something about the pace car. So I was waiting. Normally when I'm watching, because I watch delayed. Normally I'll skip through the commercials and skip right to as they're rolling to the line. They take the green right to the restart zone. And this one I was like, nope. I'm gonna keep watching for what happens to the pace car because I know something's gonna happen. And I wasn't disappointed.
I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. And then the red flag came out, and I was like, come on, what is going on?
So funny.
Oh man.
Does Brett Bodine still drive the pace car?
Is it still Brett?
I don't think it is anymore.
I don't know. I didn't hear anything about it. So yeah. That's the one thing I haven't gotten much more information on is what the heck happened with that.
Yeah. 36 victory, 579 NASCAR Cup Series races for Joey Logano. Once again, brings the championship back to victory lane. Wins the championship all in one, which we didn't have last year with Blaney. Carson Hocevar, highest finishing rookie, 18th.
And the rookie of the year.
Yes, rookie of the year as well. Chevrolet won the NASCAR Cup Series Manufacturers Championship. So there you go.
There you have it.
Cup Series is in the book. We already hinted a little bit at the Xfinity Series Championship. Justin Allgaier finally gets it done after making so many attempts at not winning this thing. Starting with the bad luck on Friday, I think it was Friday, right, where they wrecked in the oil.
Yep.
Had to go to the backup car, and then all right. You know my feeling on the restarts, right? The restart violations, they piss me off. Let's put it this way. He broke the rule and 100% broke the rule, and NASCAR should have penalized him, but just get rid of the damn rule.
Just let the flag determine the start of the race.
It's so ridiculous. And
if they go before the flag waves, then come on. Gosh.
It's just, all you're doing is just moving the point of, they're worried about going by the flag because then they have to police it, but they have to police it anyway. So you're just moving the point of policing and making it more difficult or more easy to screw it up and violate. Yep. And so, but, and then, dumbest thing you can do, speed on pit road as you're serving your penalty. And the thing is like in both of these situations, the restart violation was ridiculous because he had the fastest car, like easily fastest car in this race. There was no doubt he was going to be able to win this thing. And then he goes and does that. And it's like, okay, well, at least we're not throwing it away. We're still on the lead lap. And then he freaking speeds.
Did you think he was done at that point?
Yeah.
I mean, like, how could you not, right? I was like, Jesus, Justin.
Yeah. I thought that was it. This thing's over. And yeah, he gets the lucky caution at the right time, man. Just perfect. And as soon as that caution came out, it's like, yeah, this sucker's over. He's got it. Yep. And then Riley Herbst passes him for the win at the end and
aggressively,
roughs him up a little bit. And as that's happening, I'm thinking, dude, just that was so the dumbest thing he did was speed on pit road. The best thing he did, the smartest thing he did all day was a lift. Because there was no reason to win that race.
I know.
Just let Herbst go because he's going regardless.
I do appreciate that Allgaier said too. He's like, Riley didn't do anything wrong there. I have no hard feelings because he was just trying to win.
He won the championship.
And he won the champ. I'm like, you feel that way because you did the right thing and you just let off the gas. A race win. You'll have chances to win other races. Yeah. This championship might be your one shot. So.
Does this
After all
give Denny Hamlin hope? Like Allgaier finally won one. Maybe Denny can get one in the
know.
Cup Series.
Justin tried to give this one away so many times.
Right?
I guess Denny Hamlin should have some hope.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
Somehow before Sunday, they managed to pry the championship flag out of Dale Jr.'s hands.
That was probably I enjoyed that so much.
He was
so
he
good.
was such a child with it. I love Junior. I like this. I've said this before, but I love this current Junior so much more than I loved him as a driver.
Yeah. Yeah. He just wants he just wanted his flag, man.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And I love what he said too, where he said, "I don't give a damn about the owners' championship."
Yeah,
I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that. Because I think maybe people weren't tapped in, but Eric Almirola was trying to win that owners' championship.
Yeah,
he was just a little bit off.
Yep,
just a little bit off.
Yeah,
but that would have been interesting, but couldn't get there.
That was the only opportunity JGR had at any championship this weekend, was that owners' championship.
Yep. Oh man, yeah. I was watching that race and I'm just like, man, Justin, and I said this like 3 times. I was like, Justin, what are you doing? Because we both, and the funny thing is so last week when we did the podcast, you had the pick on Xfinity, and I was like, dang, he's gonna take Justin Allgaier. Mm-hmm. I want Justin Allgaier, just because I felt like this is time,
right?
Like the sentimental pick's gonna eventually win one of these things, and god dang it, you got the only one right.
Yeah, it had to happen. Had to happen.
One of us had to pick a champion correctly. My God,
right?
we
sucked. I almost got Sundays.
You did?
Oh, no, you almost got Sundays.
I almost got Sunday. Yeah,
I did not. I was terrible on Sunday.
Yeah. Well, we suck at it. We were one for one correct pick. But the good thing is we both wanted it, so that's good.
I didn't watch the interview, but apparently Riley was a little mouthy in the post-race press conference as well. Did you see any of that?
A little bit. I think he was hearing some crap about how he raced and didn't like that. So
thing is I mean, what's he got? 3 wins in the Xfinity Series?
Yeah.
I mean, I want these guys to have some personality, but don't act like you're the greatest thing in the series. You've won 3. You know, but
yep.
But no, I don't. He's racing for a win, and you know, at this point, James, he's got plans for next year. We know what the plans are, but we don't know if those plans are going to come because we don't even know if that team's going to be allowed to compete.
That's right. That's right.
So, I mean, this is a guy who might need a ride next year. I mean, he could be Ricky Carmichael in it right now. Just has a ride signed, and something goes wrong, and he loses it.
Or Chandler Smith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure. But as you put in the notes here, he does get the last win for Stewart-Haas Racing.
Yep.
So cool that he has that legacy for him. Pretty neat deal there, and yeah, he was getting it no matter what.
Yep.
Didn't matter who was there, he was going through them.
That's right.
Connor Zilic with a quiet 4th place finish in this one.
Yeah.
He's gonna be fun to watch next year. Gotta be.
He's gonna be a contender next year. Yeah.
Gotta be a favorite next year going into the championship.
Gotta be one of them. Yeah, because Custer's gone. Allmendinger will be gone.
Yep.
So yeah, it's Austin Hill and Connor Zilic, and I don't know who else. I guess Sheldon Creed might finally get a win. Maybe.
I was really happy with. Speaking of Austin Hill, I was really happy with his post race interview. Very congratulatory to Justin Allgaier. I mean, I don't think anybody dislikes Allgaier.
No, everybody loves Justin Allgaier.
Yeah. So, but he was, I thought, for somebody who we've questioned the way he's acted multiple times in Austin Hill. I thought he had a real great stance after the race, and not overly disappointed, but disappointed, but gracious and all that. It was good to see out of him. So gave me a little bit of respect back for him. So that's always absolutely good. So, let's see, Riley Herbst. Let's see, we got some championship facts here. 34th different driver to win a NASCAR Xfinity Series title, and Justin Allgaier. Previous best finish was twice runner-up in 2020 and 2023. 2 starts on the season out of 30, or 2 wins in the season out of 33 starts, 10 top 5s, 20 top 10s. Anything else interesting here? First Junior Motorsports NASCAR Xfinity Series Owners Championship.
Oh,
so that's interesting, even though Junior doesn't give a damn.
Yep.
One of 20 different organizations to win the NASCAR Xfinity Series Drivers Championship. They've won it 1, 2, 3, 4 times now. Drivers' Championship for Dale Jr. There you go. Herbst gets his third victory in 175 NASCAR Xfinity Series races. Jesse Love, highest finishing rookie, and also NASCAR Xfinity Series Sunoco Rookie of the Year winner. Jesse Love, Chevrolet, also wins the Xfinity Series Manufacturers Championship. There you go.
All right.
Truck Series kicked things off on Friday night. Ty Majeski does the short track thing and gets himself his first championship. Good win. Not who we were expecting, but also not a terrible surprise. Eckes doesn't get it done. Heim didn't get it done.
Nope.
And Majeski was good all day. I mean, this was looking like his race pretty much all the way through, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So.
he just flat dominated. Nobody had a shot. There was
132 laps led.
Yep, there was a couple of restarts though.
Yeah.
Where things got a little bit interesting, but no, he was he almost got into the back of a wrecking Frankie Muniz, which would have been an interesting storyline.
Yeah, it would have.
Malcolm in the middle takes out championship contender. I was gonna add too, Christian Eckes sealed his fate at Martinsville.
Yep.
Because he let Ty Majeski in.
Yep.
Ty Majeski took it to him. So
yeah. Taylor Gray finished 6th, so Eckes still would have lost though because Corey Heim finished 2nd. But
Corey Heim is right there, yeah.
All 4 playoff drivers in the top 5. Nick Sanchez sneaks in there with a 4th place finish to break it up a little bit. Grant Enfinger last out of the championship 4.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a decent race. I mean, it wasn't anything spectacular. Like I said, 132 laps led by Majeski. Not a
Xfinity Series stole the show on Saturday.
Yeah, Xfinity Series was definitely the best race of the weekend.
Yep.
Ty Majeski gets his 6th victory in 89 Craftsman Truck Series races. By the way, he also won the championship and the race.
Where is he going next year? What is his? Is he still? He's going full time trucks again?
I don't know. I guess I haven't heard it. The Truck Series is tough because they're not signing deals until off season.
No.
In many instances, the Xfinity Series is towards the end of the year and into the off season. Actually, we've got Xfinity Series really signed rides pretty early this year because we got a lot of announcements around Michigan and stuff that you don't normally get. So
yeah, and Ty, I'm glad to see him get this championship. He's the same age almost as Ryan Blaney. So, and he was in the Ford program. Remember, for a while he raced Xfinity Series for Roush, and just never did much with it. So now that he's been full time in trucks here for the last handful of years, he's been a consistent veteran champion contender. I mean, he gets 15 to 14 top 10s every year, and now he's got himself a championship. So maybe something to help him propel himself a little bit more forward in the series. Yeah.
So Ty Majeski posted on Twitter. He says he was fired in the AM on September 8th, 2020. He texted Chase Briscoe for David Pepper's number that day. He drove up to Sandusky, met with Duke and Rhonda Thorson. A few months later, won the 2020 Snowball Derby. Got a call shortly after that after that race with a job offer to race for ThorSport. Now he's 2024 championship, and he's got a screenshot of the text to Chase.
That's awesome.
Very cool deal. So, little insight there. Chase had a little, in a roundabout way, had a little bit to do with that championship too. So
that's cool.
Very
really
cool.
Yep.
Lane Riggs, your 2024 Craftsman Truck Series Sunoco Rookie of the Year. He was also the highest finishing rookie in this race at 10th place. And guess what? Chevrolet won the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Manufacturers Championship.
Yeah, well, they own 3/4 of the field, so
Right.
They should get enough points.
Yeah, between ThorSport and Spire, and I mean,
there's only a handful of Fords and there's only like 4 Toyotas in the series.
Yeah, there's not much. It's pretty much Chevy.
Yep.
There you go. There's your championship races. Crowned all 3 champions. Very, very good to have that all said and done, and ready to move on to the 2025 season. Little bit of news this week, James. Not a ton of stuff, but we did get an update since we last recorded on the lawsuit. The injunction was denied regarding basically 2311 being allowed to sign and Front Row being allowed to sign the charter
Races charters for the upcoming season.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
Basically, they are going to expedite some stuff, so we might learn more in the off season than we were expecting to learn originally. But yeah, according to Gluck, NASCAR has pretty much said that at this point they're not even offering them to race next year. Like,
yeah,
it'll be really interesting to see what all comes about by February. I mean, it's only a couple months away before we go to Daytona, and yeah.
Seems I thought this would lean the other way, but man, NASCAR's got some power here, so
yeah.
We'll see. I think it's going to change quite a bit.
Does this scare 2311 enough? Does this make them worry about their case enough to try and settle? And is that the ultimate goal, like just to settle? Is that, you think, what 2311 wants out of this deal?
I think NASCAR is going to hammer down now. If NASCAR keeps racking up a couple of wins here, they're gonna squeeze them. They're gonna squeeze them bad because they're mad.
Yeah.
So, and that's what they were saying on the teardowns. Like, we can do it. We'll be good without you. That's the way NASCAR's always been, though. We don't need you. We'll get somebody else in there.
Exactly. That's the iron fist that Bill France Jr. led with.
Yep.
And there's some pretty good discussion. If you can get through the bickering between Jeff and Jordan this week, there's some good discussion on the lawsuit between them on the teardown. So it's worth checking that out.
Yeah, and they've been in the courtroom too. Like Bob's been in the courtroom. So if you want to read like in depth, see what's going on, follow Bob, follow Jeff. They're actually on the scene.
And I'm not insulting Jeff when I say this, but Bob is definitely more knowledgeable when it comes to the court stuff and everything too.
Bob's
Jeff will tell you that.
yeah, Bob's traditional.
Yeah, so definitely, you can get more in the weeds with Bob's stuff. But Jeff was talking about the fact that essentially the judge said that 2311 is saying they're going to have damages as a result of this, but they don't have any evidence of that. It's all speculation. And the judge is like, well, we'll look at it, but you got to show us where you're going to actually have damages. So, if Tyler Reddick threatens to leave, or they can show some documentation that a sponsor is not going to sign on if they don't have a charter, I guess that's an opportunity there.
Yeah.
So we'll see what all comes of it, but certainly they got more information about what they need. And
I find it hard to believe that 2311 is not going to show up at Daytona.
Yeah, they will.
I mean,
they're
going to want to compete. They're going to want to compete. They'll be all right.
Yeah. Where else are they going to go?
They just built that freaking airspeed building too. Like what? They're not going to sink all that money into nothing. My thought, but
yeah, I think they're going to try and hold this as long as they can. And that's the thing too, is like, it's really easy to interpret this as a NASCAR win, but in a way, that's not necessarily how the court system doesn't always work in wins and losses either.
Right.
So, like I said, the court's telling 2311 they need some proof to show this stuff, but that doesn't mean that they aren't going to be able to come up with it either. Right. This type of stuff, this win-loss thing, happens throughout the court system. That's just how it works. It doesn't work like when you watch on, Law and Order on TV. It's it's a little bit more like this. So, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. Like I said, there's definitely a lot of people covering it. A lot of information that'll be out there, and people aren't going to have anything else to do in the off season, so they'll be focusing on this. So,
right.
Sad news. We lost Bobby Allison this week. Big bummer there. I don't know that it was terribly surprising because we did get, the announcement.
His 85th win.
Yeah.
Right?
So kind of felt like an odd time to make that announcement. So I'm assuming that it was kind of known that there were some issues.
Dale Jr. said this weekend that he had heard that Bobby was not doing that well.
Yeah.
And that must have been in the making the rounds.
Right.
Throughout the garage. But man, Bobby Allison, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Have you watched, there's a documentary, and I wish I had it in front of me. NASCAR did this documentary years ago now, where they kind of went through the history of the sport. And one of the chapters was just the Allison family and the Alabama gang.
Right.
And man, the Allison family, Eric, I know you know the story. It's nothing new to you, but Bobby gets in that wreck in Pocono. Yeah. And loses his memory for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Like, can't remember anything. Remembers some things, remembers who he is, but can't remember any of his race wins. But you got Davey, and Davey is a rock star.
Right.
superstar in the making. And to lose, Bobby loses both of his sons within a year of each other. And, one thing I thought of too, because I still remember this, besides Bobby, the Allison family, just a tragic story, but like resilient as hell are the Allisons.
Right.
But I remember you met Bobby Allison, and you
Yes.
told me about this, and that stuck with me. And when he passed away, I thought of you, and I'm like, man, Eric got to meet one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
And a true ambassador for NASCAR for many years.
Yeah, definitely an honor to have had the opportunity to meet him. Thanks to Jeff Gluck. I mean, it was the tweet up at the 2011 Daytona 500. Bobby and Landon Castle were the two special guests for the tweet up.
What a pairing,
right? And I'm not an autograph guy. I don't really care about autographs very much. I don't like going up and asking for autographs. I'm more of a shake somebody's hand type of person.
Yep.
But Bobby, I have to find it, but I took my Daytona 500 ticket, took it up to him, had him sign it, and all I said, man, so we really miss Davey, and he says, yeah, he was pretty special, he says. And that was a good moment to have, very cool to have that. And I was a huge Davey Allison fan when Davey passed, and of course Davey Allison and Alan Kwiecki fan, so that was a rough year for me. But I had a poster on my wall with Bobby Allison and Bobby Hillen, the Miller cars on my wall back in the day. So
I've got his autograph somewhere too. Now I didn't get a chance to meet him, but I do have it somewhere.
That's awesome.
I'll
never forget the 88 Daytona 500 with him getting the win and Davey finishing second. That was a cool deal.
And he drove the Miller High Life car, man,
Yes.
which is just legendary.
Yeah,
that car.
Yeah.
So cool.
Of course, also responsible for restrictor plates. not necessarily of his doing, but
he was the catalyst for it because his wreck. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I tweeted out because of that documentary. I guess it's kind of putting a bow on my story a little bit, but because of that documentary, I've always looked at Bobby Allison and thought, man, that is a father.
Yeah.
He is a true father. So I tweeted this out, and this is the first time this has ever happened to me. And I kind of hate that it happened because of this, but I think the message I think the message stands.
Right.
I tweeted out that I think of him as a father before a racer. And I put a picture of Davey Allison in the Trans-South 500, crashed, car's on fire. Davey's out of the car, but Bobby doesn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just I think it's probably one of the greatest photos in the history of racing. Davey's car's on fire, and there's smoke and flames everywhere, and there's Bobby hurtling. Well, he's probably in his 50s at this point,
right?
Hurtling a guardrail to get to his son's car, and that image has always stuck with me as like that is father above all else. And as a dad myself, I've always kind of admired that, and every time I see that picture, it resonates with me for whatever reason. It always has, but so I tweet this thing out, and this is the first time a tweet that I've ever tweeted has gone like completely viral. I think it's like over 18,000 impressions and like almost 700 likes on it at this point. I'm like, what the heck happened? But you know what? If my message got shared out about Bobby Allison in that way, then I guess I'm happy about that.
It was a great post. It really was.
Yeah, and I saw Mark Martin liked it, like organically found it. And
that's incredible that you got an organic like from Mark Martin.
And Rick Rare Racing got it on there too. I was like, what is going on? I wish this would have been the podcast.
Right.
But
no. I'd rather that tweet gets attention than the podcast. That was an excellent
no kidding.
tweet.
Yeah, I was just I don't know. I wanted to share something that because he's probably one. I'm trying to think of. I don't want to do a list right now, but a guy I never really watched him race because I was too young.
Right.
But has always resonated with me, like as one of the great. I just think of him as like the great ambassador for the sport.
Yeah.
And he's always been there, and it's sad that he's gone. And unfortunately, we're at that age though where we're losing some of our heroes.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's just it sucks to have them. Have people passing away that we've grown up around and watched and followed and revered. it's part of aging, unfortunately. And, you know,
Yeah,
it's one of those things that's a reminder of how young NASCAR really is too. You know, it's 76 years organization that, you know, there's still, you know, originators that are alive, but we're losing them. And so,
and he's got the greatest quote of all time too. Where he was talking about Cale and him in their fight at Daytona, which we should mention this, right? It's probably,
yeah,
I mean, that's a top 3 or 5 moment in the history of the sport, right?
right.
And he says, all of a sudden, Cale's nose went to beating on my fist.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. Oh man, but the Alabama gang, dude, Bobby, Donnie, yeah. I mean, if you're like us and you tap into the old school, that's old school. I mean, that's as old school as it gets. That's the best.
And we're not from the South. We're not from Alabama. We don't have the connections to the Alabama gang that they have down there. You know, they're royalty down in Talladega. You know, that line, arguably one of the most iconic lines in NASCAR. You know, right up there with I wasn't trying to wreck him. I was just trying to rattle his cage.
Yeah,
you know, those great line.
The greatest fight in NASCAR history.
Oh yeah, by far.
Yeah,
that fight made NASCAR.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it did it. That fight is responsible for the popularity of NASCAR.
And he's smack dab in the middle of it and had nothing to do with the crash.
Right.
He was just in there defending his brother. He just got right in there. Who doesn't resonate with Bobby Allison, man?
Exactly.
He's just fighting for his brother. He's just a great, I don't know. Who can't see themselves a little bit in Bobby Allison?
Yeah. One
of the greats. Look him up. If you're a newer fan and you're not sure who Bobby Allison is, he's got stories, man.
Yep.
Probably one of the greats. So.
Yep. Definitely. He'll be missed for sure. Very much so.
Yep.
FedEx will be done with the number 11 car. Denny's no longer delivering. James.
Did he ever? I'm just joking. Not. Just joking.
Guess not. Right.
Just joking. Just joking.
Joking. I mean, you know, we can joke about it, but again, another long time major sponsor of the sport.
I hate it.
Leaving. It sucks. I'm honestly surprised. You know, UPS has been gone for a while. I'm surprised that FedEx stayed around as long as it did. And very grateful that they were such a big part of the sport for so long.
20 years they were with the sport.
Yeah.
2005 they came in and ended out in 2004. It's kind of the same thing. Well, M&M's was a little bit longer actually, but yeah. That's
I mean, this is a sponsor that was with Denny from day one in the Cup Series.
Yep. So. Yeah, he started out with Loeffler when the 11 car came on, and Joe Gibbs had expanded to a 3-car team, and then Denny got in that seat and never gave it up.
Yep. Yeah, won his first time out in the car.
I thought Denny's post was super classy, by the way he did it, the way they announced it. They didn't it was never made a big deal.
Yeah, that's right.
There was rumors going around that I remember us talking about. There was rumors going around that FedEx was cutting back. And then all of a sudden, a few hours before the race on Sunday, Denny has a post go out, and it's just "Thank you, FedEx," and it's just a really heartfelt post. I was like, "Wow, this is actually really well done."
You mean really Denny can be classy?
Denny can be classy, and he's got that Dirty Mo backing, so he can get out some good content. So
right.
But yeah, it was really good, and yeah, I hate, and say what you want about Denny Hamlin, great partnership between him and FedEx.
Yeah,
I mean, that became a legendary pairing. The same way that the 48 and Lowe's was very legendary for a long time. You know, you think of cars and sponsorships. I mean, for how long Eric was 11 and Budweiser, you know, back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, the 11 car with Budweiser.
Yeah.
I remember Bill Elliott had that for a few years there too.
Yeah.
But I think FedEx and the 11 is the dominant pairing of that car and sponsorship now.
I agree.
So
I agree.
It's going to be weird seeing no purple out there.
Yeah, definitely. And that's it for news, unless something popped during the pod, but I don't expect it to.
I saw, SiriusXM NASCAR was interviewing, I think, the crew chief for Justin Allgaier, and they had pitted with flat tires. And they put the same flat tires on the left sides. That's how the car finished the race.
Oh, wow.
So they must have checked them and they were good to go.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, I thought that was an interesting little nugget I've seen. I've been keeping an eye on Twitter just in case.
Nice.
In case.
Well, that's because you can't get enough of Twitter.
I can't. I'm going to have to quit.
You have to take a break.
I think I have to quit.
Got to do it.
I think I do.
Any checkered flags this week, James?
Yeah. I thought of this stat all by myself,
Oh,
but
nice.
I wanted to do a checkered flag. I'm going to give Joey Logano a checkered flag for winning a
Wow.
championship, and here's why. Back in 2013, Joe Gibbs Racing looked at their young up and coming sliced bread and said, "Nope, we want Matt Kenseth. Good luck. He's got nobody else wants him." But Brad Keselowski looked at him and said, he should be on team. He fit in here at Team Penske.
Yeah.
So Joe Gibbs fires Joey Logano. Joe Gibbs, since then, has had Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer walk through that door and has 2 total championships with Kyle Busch. Joey Logano, 3
Nice.
championships. So maybe don't give up on the young guys.
There you
soon.
go. Penske won
Because
that
you never
battle.
know. They might turn into one of the all-time greats.
No kidding. That's a good
There you
stat.
go.
I like
Check,
that.
yeah. Checkered flag, Joey Logano. Congratulations on your 3rd title, my man.
Not only that, but he's got, also got the title from Blaney in there as well. So, that's yeah, they come out on the winning end for sure.
Yeah, Team Penske's got if you count Brad Keselowski too in 2012, that's 4
Nice.
championships.
Yeah.
And we look forward to Austin Cindric winning the title next year.
There you go. It won't be Joey.
I think I stole that one from you.
Yeah, you did. It won't be Joey because it's not an even number year. So
That's right. It's going to be Blaney or Cindric.
yep. There you go. My checkered flag, James. I wanted to give a shout out this week to longtime NASCAR broadcaster Rick Allen,
Oh, good one.
who hopefully will still be doing some broadcasting next year. But Dale Jr. posted something earlier this week, calling out to him and praising him and his work. Definitely a bummer if he's not coming back. We don't know. It kind of, the way Junior worded it, kind of seemed like he might not be returning to the CW for the Xfinity Series next year. But one way or the other, hopefully he lands on his feet somewhere and he's happy with what he's doing. Rick's, we've had our criticism of Rick, but it's not an easy job to do, and maybe he's not as good as Lee Diffie. Maybe he's not as good as Mike Joy, but he's certainly one of the top doing it, period. So
Yeah, we're lucky to have Rick
Yeah.
Allen.
yeah,
He's as solid as they come.
he was a great addition. I think as a person too, more so than a broadcaster. I think he brought a good personality to NBC with their broadcast. He had a good rapport with Jeff Burton, Steve Letarte, Dale Jr. when Jr. was there. You kind of got the feeling. Well, they did those things where they would watch races and you could hang out and watch the race with them and stuff. And like, I don't feel like you could do that with Mike Joy, or Lee Diffie. It just, has that personality of just, kind of a down home guy doing the broadcast. And I think that works for him. And of course we were there when he was recognized at Eldora when he was moving over to NBC after leaving the Truck Series and Fox. So, hopefully he lands on his feet. Hopefully things work out for him. And also just a shout out to Jeff Striegel, who broadcast did his last race with MRN Radio as well.
Yep.
This week at Phoenix.
He'll be full time with us on the west side of the state.
Yep, there you go.
Yep.
Definitely some changes coming to the radio broadcasts and all that stuff, and TV broadcasts and everything with the new partners coming in next year. It's gonna be interesting next year to see some new faces and all that. So excited to get Dale Jr. back into the booth though. That'll be fun.
Yeah. But the summer stretch TV is gonna be a little interesting next year because I'm gonna have to invest in Prime and all this other crap.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get Max. But
I still have Max, but I think I'm gonna turn it off for a little while.
Yeah.
Bring it back NASCAR season.
It's a good excuse to have it. I've always looked for excuses to have that stuff. Like I enjoyed Supercross because it gives me an excuse to have Peacock for a while.
And you can catch up on Curb.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
See?
I was, you sent me the out of context Curb thing, and now
out of context Curb on Twitter, by the way, really great. But
now TikTok is sending me Curb clips.
yeah.
And I love every single one of them.
Yeah, good.
They're great.
Good.
I want to send
I hope
everyone
you think
to
of me
you.
every time you see.
I do.
David.
I think of you every time. So
he's the only person on the earth as ornery as me.
Yeah.
So
speaking of you, any black flags, James, this week?
oh my God, haven't we had enough black flags? Jeez, I'll give it to the. Wow, I don't don't want to give it to the pace car driver.
I was gonna do that.
All right, you take that. I'll take everything Winston Cup on Twitter.
There you go.
I'm done, dude. And Matt Weaver made a good joke about it, and I had to comment on it and say, man, that's really good. Because there was nobody was posting anything about the Winston Cup standings on Twitter ever since the end of this race. My God. Oh, it's driving me nuts. So if you've posted about the Winston Cup, black flag.
There you go. Yeah, I'll give it to pace car driver. Come on. You got one job. Turning left and missing the wall.
Pace car. Oh, man.
Jeez. Thank God they have a backup. That's all I can say.
Yep.
At least it didn't catch on fire or anything like it's done in the past. So,
yeah.
And nobody ran into it, just ran into something. My gosh. Yeah. Hey,
Kyle Larson hit the ball.
I was going to say Kyle Larson has sympathy for the pace car driver. So,
yeah, he does.
James, how'd fantasy league go? How did we wrap up for the fantasy league?
Fantasy league.
Let me rephrase that. How did you do in the playoff standings? Did you at least win the playoff standings?
No,
James?
I finished third in the playoff standings. Couldn't do anything there. Well, so we went into the championship with a 2-man fight. I was 90 some odd points behind Green Eggs and Hamlin. So I looked at my lineup and I said, okay, I'm gonna try to find a couple of advantage here and make a couple of picks based on. I know I need some luck, but maybe I'll find it. Maybe I'll get lucky. So I go through all the one-on-one picks and I think, okay, I know Taylor's not gonna pick this guy, so I'm gonna pick this guy, and I got him all right. I picked opposite of him on all 4, so I'm like, all right. I know at the beginning of the race I got a chance for 40 points right there. Now I just need a little bit of luck. And I needed Tyler Reddick and Chase Elliott to have a problem. And man, they almost did. So, and after all that, I tied him 251 to 251 in the race. We both finished third. Shut Up Roger wins the race. Barron Speedway battles back. Our defending champion. He finishes second in the race. And the overall standings, our champion is Green Eggs and Hamlin. He gets a little bit of revenge on me from 2 years ago. He wins the title. I finished second yet again. I think this is my fifth second place finish. Just maddening. And then Team Justin was third. Eric, you go 7th. You did it. You made it to 7th. Nice work. And just for the heck of it, Watermelon James 16th. So complete opposite ends of the standings, me and Watermelon James. But yeah, thanks to everybody who played. I
do want to before you because you're brushing it off. I do want to bring attention to the playoff league standings though, because
that's fine. I can do the playoffs
because Green Eggs and Hamlin got 2,063 and you got 2,060. He beat you by 3 points in the playoffs, which makes me so happy.
Yeah, I couldn't even beat him there. I know.
That was my favorite part. Is I knew you didn't.
Yeah.
I knew you didn't win the championship, and I'm like, I gotta go check and see if he won the playoffs at least. And 3 points.
I thought I had finished third. So
no, you're second.
That was good. 3 points out for the playoff championship. Smoking Grill Racing was third. So.
Yeah. Nice close battle in the playoffs for the top 3. That was pretty good.
Yeah, we were all bunched up together there, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I finished 6th in the playoffs, so I definitely had a better playoff. Well, one position better in the playoffs.
You did improve. This fantasy league, I don't know, man. I mean, we're gonna do it again next year. I'm gonna have a call about it, and I'm gonna finish second again.
Yeah,
it's like every.
Hey, at least you've won. I mean,
I did say that a couple of years ago. I did say last time Joey Logano won the championship, I won the league. So, yeah, I did say as long as I have one, I'm okay. As long as I know that I've got one,
I don't ever have to worry about having that. So,
holy crap, dude. I mean, at least this year, because last year Barron Speedway just obliterated us.
Yeah.
Remember, he was in the top 50 for the entire thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he had a monster year last year. So we'll see if you want to come back, we'll have the league going again next year.
Yeah, we'll do it again. Reluctantly, we'll do it again.
Oh, I hate that thing so much.
So do I.
I really try. Eric, I tried so hard going into Sunday. I'm like, man, I think I can find a way to find points here. And to come out and get tie was such a kick in the pants. Dude.
The amount of effort that I put into it, and I don't even care.
I know.
Like I don't even want to be a part of it, and I put too much effort into it.
I know. Drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Drives me nuts. But congratulations to Green Eggs and Hamlin. I think our deal still stands. He probably has to come on, doesn't he?
Yeah, we'll bring him on at some point. We're gonna take a break here for who knows how long. Well, so the plan is we'll be. unless something happens that makes it worth jumping on, we'll be off next week. We'll be off for a couple weeks, probably definitely through Thanksgiving. Hopefully, I think usually what we do, James, is we pop back on in December before the end of the year and do one, and then we'll come back after the holidays and maybe do another one in January-ish, and then really kick it off heading into the new season. But we'll be around. If you guys want to hit us up, you can hit us up on social media. We'll give you the handles here in a second. But if news breaks, anything big happens with the lawsuit, we get big team announcements, anything like that, we'll definitely hop on and do, even if short. I don't know if we're capable of doing a short podcast, but we'll pop on and do something. We'll be around, but definitely need to take some time off. I'm doing 20 million other things. I know James is busy as hell too.
Dude, we got kids and stuff, man.
Yep.
Kids and stuff. We were griping before we started recording about how busy we are.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, I know. I don't understand it.
I will say Jeff and Jordan announced Sunday that they're going to continue to do podcasts throughout the off season, or at least much of the off season. So you'll be able to get your NASCAR fix from them. Maybe they'll say something that spurs us to go back on too, but keep us in your feed. We'll be just watch for us. We might pop back on. But we'll be around and definitely be back before the start of the 2026 season. James, where can people hit you up on social media if they want to chat with you during the off season?
Oh my God. You know what? I'm not going to say Twitter because I don't know if I'm going to be on there.
You will be.
Do find me on Instagram, James Cush on Instagram, and also James Cush on Twitter, but I'll see if I'm on there. I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit sad about the state of Twitter these days.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. Occasionally, I'll try to keep checking in. Hit us up on Facebook. I do check the Facebook page, facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. Actually, James is better at reading messages on there than I am, but
I'll try my best.
There you go. Podcast is at thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Audible, and iHeartRadio. Wherever you found us today, please subscribe. Continue to listen for new episodes next season and a few during the off season. Subscribe wherever you found us. We'd be excited to have you jump on board. Appreciate everybody who's listened all season long, and we're excited about taking a little break and then head to the Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium. Just a couple months away, James. We'll be right back at it. Excited about the Clash. We'll definitely have some previews leading up to that, and of course the 2026 Daytona 500. Until
25.
2025. Yeah. Well, we'll preview the 2026 one as well, but we'll do the 2025
we might as well.
Yeah. With that, see, it's just time to go, guys. It's time to go.
Time to be done. Sign off, my man.
With that, let's go racing.